Hey guys! Do you struggle with learning a technical extreme sport? I've made this video to help you, based on my experience in 4 different extreme sports. I think I have a pretty good overview of the important parts, and I'm not keeping the secret for myself. Try these tips and see that they work. This video will also give you motivation in case you're about to quit a sport. So, let's start. I will talk about independent things. This is not an agenda, but I can sum up the video something like this. You need knowledge, abilities, time, and if you manage these well, you will achieve anything. I will talk about these in way more details in a second, but to quickly overview, knowledge is a prerequisite. Don't start anything without this. How to build up a solid knowledge? Probably by using the internet. Or if you're lucky, talking to people in person. Learn from the average of the tips you receive. Watching only pros might deceive you. Their technique can be so good, so their style hide important details. Extreme sports are relatively new. The makers of the tutorials are not teachers. Unless they taught 20 people of the same trick, there is a high chance that they forgot something from their tutorials. For example, there are no 2 identical tutorials for a Webster on YouTube. This is the reason you want to make an average of the tips you hear. Plus, you need to understand why something is working. Time. Long-term motivation tips will come here, like how to get friends to train with, because your knowledge worth nothing if you don't practice. I will also mention other hints like frequency of the trainings, games you can play, and traveling. It's hard to speak generally about extreme sports, but I will try to get as close as possible to provide you valuable tips. Now, the details about knowledge and ability. You need to understand the moves logically, you need to train physically, and you need to know mentally that you will succeed. Fully commit when you do it, and on a long term, not to give up if you want to land something difficult. All 3 are important, but the ratio can be different in each trick. For example, mostly technical, a B-twist. A physically hard one, jumping on a box with your 10 plus kilograms ski gear, which is on the other hand technically and mentally easy. A mentally hard one, but otherwise fairly easy example is a backflip. Technical part. To learn anything, you absolutely need to understand what's going on logically. There is no guarantee that the tutorials can tell you the key points. For example, you can't see the exact power, angle, or other details that you need to understand in order to execute a trick correctly. It's your task to find these out and practice. Eventually, this is what you will experience. Also, watch tips from multiple people and create an average in your head. If you pay attention to guys with medium skills, that can be also helpful. Maybe you even spot a mistake on their technique. All in all, you need to be absolutely sure what's working and why. If no expert is around you, you need to record yourself with a phone and compare your tries to other clips to spot the mistakes. If you don't monitor your technique, you might run into a dead end and practice forever without success. 2 important things about this. First, compare the setups for a trick, small details like foot placement. Use more than just one reference. Secondly, compare the tempo of the tricks, how much time you should spend in each phase. These 2 are equally important. Watch for your posture. Recognize if you have some physical limitation to reach your goal. Maybe you need more muscle strength or stretch. Then train those before you force landing a trick. More details about harmful forcing in the commitment section. You can also learn more about the tools you use. I remember this was the board that skyrocketed my skill back then. It was years later when I recognized I was using a W concave narrow board, which was very easy to handle as a kid. Physical part. Your muscles need to develop for certain activities. No shortcuts here. They develop with different speed. Sometimes you just need a couple of weeks to land something clean, but for example, if you start a front flip from 0, you will need years because your core develops very slowly. Additionally, it takes 2 to 8 weeks for your muscles to actually grow, until that only your brain registers the need. It is also advised to take a 2-3 days break per muscle before you continue the strengthening exercises. During that time, your muscles will regenerate. It's per muscle, so it's fine to do abs training on Monday, then leg day on Tuesday. Muscle memory key takeaway, really without going too deep into this. Your brain is super good on memorizing robotic movements. If you learn it the wrong way, it will be hard to correct. What you can do is that you stop practicing difficult tricks when you are tired or the conditions are not satisfying, like the grass is too slippery or it's dark and you can't see the landing. You don't want to memorize any bad stuff. Stretch after the trainings for several reasons. It's good for your muscles, good for your posture, and good for your style. Believe in yourself, but be aware of your conditions. Tricks are not legendary achievements. You will get anywhere safely if you practice consistently. You can build up everything from zero with baby steps. Just find your weak points and be honest to yourself. Is there something you can't do in a certain way? You can try slower, safer, that get confidence and make your way up. When you commit, never underestimate the power of committing. Typical example, the backflip. You do need some core strength, but most importantly, commitment. As you progress in any sport, you try new and harder things, but only when you feel ready to. You should avoid skipping any steps. It's different to be ready technically and mentally. Quick story. I was practicing a 50-50 grind when I was a kid. Then a woman walked by and told me I will break my neck. Usual story so far, but next to the woman there was a child with Down syndrome. I saw that disabilities exist and I will injure myself by my own will. I couldn't land anything later on that day. The opposite also works, but more about that in the motivation section. Here are my tips on how to overcome fear. Your self-evaluation should match your skill level, meaning when you're not ready logically and physically, then don't do it. On the other hand, when you're absolutely ready, don't fear doing it. You fall a couple of times, that gives you confidence. You can train anything, including safety falls. You should try to learn by taking small steps. Go for tricks which are not far from your previous step and still expect some mistakes and falls. If you decide to commit, don't change your mind in the middle. You can change your mind right before executing, but if you started it, you need to finish the move. If you can't commit, you're not ready yet, which is fine. You need to work more on something from what I mentioned earlier. I never injured myself doing B-twists on the ice with the correct technique, only when I didn't fully commit. I know you can't really commit when you try something for the first time, right? But that's why I told you to build from smaller steps. If you understand these, it might save you from quitting a sport. Moving to the second big section, which is time. First, a quick tip about the trainings, then a lot of motivational tips. Sometimes you need repetitive training to learn something. I mean real training. For example, freestyle skiers train a lot on trampolines, pools and big airbags. What you see is a huge trick on the slope, but there is actually a lot of work behind it. Sadly, for some moves, it's not enough to train once in a month. You can barely maintain your skill level with that, so it will take forever to improve. If you see you're struggling with a trick and you're sure that your technique is correct, then go for a 2-3 weeks intense training and you might be able to learn the trick in that time frame. Now, motivation. My personal number one motivation is people that I stand together with. For me, it's not about a goal that I want to achieve. It's the road that leads there with these people. You simply have to get mates to do your sport with, and it's easier than you think. You just walk up to these people and say, "Hey, I really like what you're doing. Can you help me out with something?" Then ask about when they practice. Tell them maybe you join 1 or 2 times to get more help. These are individual sports. You're not joining a football team or anything where you pull back the team with your low skills. If there is nobody around, just start it. If everybody waited for others, no one would have done anything. Social media can help you gather a team. My first ice skating movie shows how we started back then. I got negative critics that this was embarrassing and amateur, and the truth is they were right, but nothing really existed back then. Thank God I didn't listen to these people and didn't stop freestyle ice skating. What the community has become since then is astounding. Games. Overlooked. No, actually, this is the way I started ice skating. You join at any skill level and you have fun. Games exist in all sports. For example, Game of Skate, B-Boy battles, and I already made 2 ice skating game tutorials. This is the reason for them. A great way to have fun and to learn. I'm really curious, what are your biggest motivation, guys? Maybe I missed something, so feel free to share it with a comment. I have some other things that can motivate you. Traveling. You meet new people, see and even learn new tricks. Watching pro videos before going out. I did it a lot when I was skateboarding. There is a lot of content there. It can be a great help when you catch the feeling. Or listening to music while you're doing your favorite sport. For how long can you do extreme sports? Well, I'm almost 32 and I'm better than ever. Lastly, mindset motivation. Whatever trick you're learning, there is always somebody who eats that for breakfast. Don't compare your progress to others. This is only about you. Planning something risky? Let your risk-gain ratio decide. What do you risk for what benefit? Does it worth it? It's only you who can make the decision. Fun scientific fact. Wearing protective gear makes you braver. Watch out for the clean technique even if something protects you. Doing extreme sports is difficult everywhere. These are too underground. There are no dedicated places, no culture. We have to accept that and force our way through. It took me 2 or 3 years to find the gym where I can train now. In fact, the original script here was that I'm still searching, but just found one when making this video. We saw that style comes with hard work. We need to train hard for some tricks, but don't let this disappoint you. There is still a lot of freedom in these sports. It's not a must to do research and training, but it does help a lot if you shoot for results. A couple of years already passed when a guy taught me how to stop the rotation on skis. I wish I was searching for that information so much earlier. Lastly, remember this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. The opposite is giving up or not even trying. Thank you guys who are still with me. I have a similar video for freestyle ice skaters and a lot of other ice skating related stuff on my channel. See you soon. Have a nice icy day.